All right, well, good evening. Welcome. Call the meeting to order for the Board of Trustees of the College of Sequoias Community College District. Today is Monday, April 18th, and we just had the closed session reportable items. There were two items that we had for discussion, and one of them was the board evaluation, and the second was the superintendent-president evaluation. We concluded the board evaluation, nothing significant. We have some areas that we would like to have some additional conversation about, notably some professional development. Other than that, the board is confident, pleased with the level of cooperation, not only with all of you and amongst ourselves, so we want to continue to do some things. We identified a few things that we want to continue to focus upon, but we've concluded the board evaluation. For the superintendent-president, we're going to move that again on to next month so that we can accommodate the input for the members that were not here this evening. So those are the board closed session reportable actions. If you'll stand, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Join me to salute our flag. Ready, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So this is the time for public comment. Per board policy 2350, any person may address the board at this time, either on an agenda item or other matters of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Maximum 5 minutes is allowed for each speaker, with a maximum of 15 minutes per item, unless otherwise extended by the board. So this would be the time, both in person and online, if you have a public comment on an item that is on the agenda. Public comment. Anyone in the audience? Seeing none. And seemingly not online. Okay. And so if you have a public comment on an item that is not on the agenda, this would be the time. Anyone in the audience? No? Or online? Okay. And I would note, for the record, that the two members that are not with us this evening have great reasons, and for personal reasons, we're not going to divulge those, but I will commit to you that both of them have cleared that, and there were unavoidable things. So on to board and executive staff reports. Student trustee is she online? She's online. Yes. Ms. Ali, you have a report for us this evening. A beautiful flower. You may be muted, and if I don't hear you shortly, what I'll do is I'll go on. Oh, there you are. There you go. Good evening.
Sorry about that.
Not at all.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. So March was Women's History Month, and we celebrate that by having a movie night on March 10th in honor of International Women's Day, which was March 8th. And March is actually quite an eventful month for us senators. We went to, on March 17th, we went to student senate trip to Washington, D.C. It was a week-long trip where we attended leadership conferences held by ASAC, or American Student Association of Community Colleges. There were some great speakers in the conferences who talked about Higher Education Act, educational systems, and the economy before and after COVID. and mental health in student and practical life, which was quite informative, quite a self-realization for us students over there. And then we went to Smithsonian Castle, we visited Lincoln Monument, Martin Luther King Jr. Monument, National History Museum, American History Museum, Constitution Museum, and Spy Museum. I know quite a lot. We actually planned on just a few, but we were lucky enough to visit all of them. It was truly a memorable and informative trip for all of us that we all enjoyed. So our hearts are filled with gratitude. So on behalf of all of us managers, thank you so much for a lifetime opportunity like this. Besides that, after the Giant Hearts event, Professor Hobbs and us, we received a lot of positive feedback on the 2-day events. So we decided to do Giant Spirit Days on Wednesday and Thursday, April 6th and April 7th. It turned out to be successful as well, where we had set up outdoor games like badminton. It's not quite an outdoor game, it's an indoor game, but we managed it somehow. And we played spike ball, ladder ball, cornhole, and can-jam. Besides that, we also had an orange and blue themed photo booth set up that we came in early to set up, which stayed for another day too. So to our club, we're selling baked goods and cold drinks. So that was another event that went on smooth, like Giant Hearts. So I'm glad that we were able to plan out, and a lot of people also ended up coming in, and clubs were also very sort of enthusiastically participating. So lastly, we're working on a statement to include in our minutes regarding the Russian war crime and invasion against Ukraine, that we as Student Senate and student managers and members at large stand with and support Ukraine. Thank you so much.
Very good. Well, thank you for a robust report. As always, you guys are extremely busy, and we appreciate that. We appreciate the dedication that you and all of the students have to student government, and we anticipate that you will continue that into your adult life.
Thank you so much. We're honored.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions on the report?
Yeah, I was curious about your Washington DC trip, and you might have said this and I missed it. How many from COS attended the trip, and was this a community college sponsored, where there were other community colleges throughout California, or?
So it was 4 of us from the current Student Senate class, and it was Professor Hobbs, and then 2 students from the previous Student Senate exec board. So I think in that year, the COVID just had hit, and they weren't able to go because of the pandemic. So it was just 7 of us in total from COS, and it was a leadership conference held by ASAC, the American Association of Community Colleges. So there were community colleges from all across the United States. So from Georgia, from Maryland, from Virginia, from California. Mostly it was California though, but yeah, there were community colleges from all across the U.S.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Board member reports. Trustee Nunes?
Our meeting with the Visalia City Council and the Visalia Unified took place between our meetings, am I correct?
Correct.
So we had, I believe, a successful meeting. We had, it was hosted, I think we did a fine job in hosting that event at the Porter Fieldhouse. And those folks that attended got a tour of some of our existing facilities and current facilities under construction, plus construction to start in the near future. So I think the folks from off campus were, I think, quite impressed with what is going on here at the college. So I'd like to thank Brent and the folks that put that together. And Brent is pointing at Megan, so I think she gets all the credit.
Great, thank you. Laura?
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Ken said and say thank you to Megan and all of you, because I do think we are by far the funnest group to host that meeting. I think we should do it every year. Off the record.
Yeah.
It's easy for us, we just show up.
I think it was enthusiasm in the room, and I think just the enthusiasm of the tour and seeing the new building and having photos, so I think people having things to hold and look at, and they could see that building there on that corner. I think that was impactful and good for everybody. It was a really good update for the college. I think everybody left feeling good about the direction we're going in. So thank you. Yeah.
I have nothing to add to that other than an echo. Mr. Foster, foundation report?
Hello. I just have a couple quick items I wanted to share with you. We've received a planned gift from Robert and Kathleen Harrell. We received it in March. It was $96,500. It was part of the Charitable Remainder Trust. It was administered by Trustee Gary Artis, friend of COS. Bob and Kay been longtime supporters of COS. In fact, they also endowed a scholarship with the Visalia Rotary Community Foundation, and it is for scholarships for students that are going into a trade school or basically are not seeking the 4-year college route, but want to get a degree or certificate in a trade. And so our COS students get a lot of those scholarships as well. So they've been very good to COS, and so we appreciate that gift from them and thinking of us in their estate. I also want to let you know that the board of directors for the College of Sequoia's Foundation have approved a 25% increase in the endowment spend rate. So we're going from 4% to 5%. And that change is pretty substantial for us. A $25,000 permanently restricted fund would generally would generate a $1,000 scholarship. We will now have $1,250 to spend on that scholarship. That also includes not just endowed funds that are for scholarships, but if you recall just a couple meetings ago when I mentioned that we received those large donations from the Winkler Family Trust, those have endowments that are more operational endowments, and so those are permanently restricted funds, and so those permanently restricted funds also will benefit from this increase in spend. And this was all done on the suggestion of our investment committee that closely monitors the investment performance of our endowment. I shouldn't say our endowment, an investment fund of our total portfolio. And that portfolio is all of our investable wealth, okay? Some of that is permanently restricted as an endowment, some of it is unrestricted, but we still want to keep it in there making money for us. Right. And so that they monitor the entirety of that. And since we changed investment advisors in July of 2018, we have averaged a rate of return of 8.9% net of fees. And so we definitely feel like 5% is still very much sustainable going forward. Even though right now it's not that great, but we're looking at the long tail of performance.
Yeah, right.
And everyone agreed. It was a unanimous decision on the part of the board to make this increase.
Okay, good. Questions?
And then, of course, I have the upcoming dates.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank
We
you.
appreciate that.
Okay.
Good job. Accreditation report, Dr. Lucerne.
Just a quick report. On Monday and Tuesday of last week, I was able to attend my first in-person commission meeting. We had a retreat, and so I met everybody for the first time in person. It was an amazing experience. There are some incredible people on that commission that I was honored to be sitting next to and sharing time with. So that was Monday and Tuesday. I've also been asked to serve on the hiring committee for the new president. So I'll be serving on the ACCJC hiring committee to hire the new president over the next couple of months. And then our report is ready. It is for our midterm report. It will be going to District Governance Senate and Academic Senate through, and then come to you over the next couple of months through our governance process. So you should be seeing that here probably in June.
Very good.
That's it.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
President Calvin.
Thank you, President Lane. I've got a number of items, but let me start with one that I know you're chomping at the bit. It took every ounce of willpower not to congratulate Dr. Lacerna, didn't it? Because the second half of her week, she was at the state CIO's conference, and they surprised her with a wonderful award, the Doran Award for Leadership, provided to a chief instructional officer in our system that has shown great leadership over the previous year on his or her campus, as well as in statewide activities. So, Dr. Lacerna, congratulations. Quite an honor.
Well deserved.
Awesome. So then, a couple other things. Yes, we had a fabulous joint meeting with the city and Visalia Unified, and Porterfield House just was wonderful. Taco truck, being able to tour the campus. We enjoyed it a lot. I don't know that we're ready to host every year, Trustee Cardoza. We'll get you over here at noon helping to set up for that sucker. But I want to thank Megan for all of her help coordinating that event, and then also hats off to Dr. Shingle, who actually presented that night on our CTE programs. It was a wonderful evening. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback, including the superintendent from Visalia Unified and the city manager from the city asking us if we'd host it every single year. So you're not alone, Trustee Cardoza. Let's see, just kind of going down my list here, I'd also like to thank Octavio Barajas and James Espinosa for hosting a movie night in the Quad on April 5th. That was Caesar's Last Feast, which is a fantastic movie about Cesar Chavez's last few weeks and footage of his funeral and so forth. Really touching. And so we were able to view that in the Quad. Steps, our high school outreach and enrollment registration is this Thursday and Friday. It's not the only time that high school students get an opportunity to enroll in our classes, but it is the first day. The first 2 days they're given that opportunity, and I'm told right now we're about 400 students ahead of last year's pace in terms of RSVP and so forth. So we'll have a busy campus and be busy online Thursday and Friday trying to get the first 1,500 to 2,000 students registered. So we're excited about that. Looking ahead also to, I see Tim has it here, but our theater is putting on 3 showings of Beauty and the Beast, May 5th, May 6th, and May 7th in the Quad. We'll have an outdoor stage, again, as we did in the fall. Really wonderful setup, looking forward to that. And then Tim has crafted a couple events around that, the VIP pub as well as the Beauty and the Beast tea party. That should be a lot of fun, those 3 nights. They do such a fabulous job. We just got word this week that we've got another award from the Campaign for College Opportunity. Recall that we received one in the fall for the number of ADTs awarded to Hispanic students. That was fabulous. Hopefully we'll get that every single year. And then this spring, just notified that we were named a 2022 champion for excelling in equitable course placement in Black and English enrollment, Black math enrollment, and Black math throughput. So really excited about that. Again, that came from the Campaign for College Opportunity, and I'll pass that award letter down. We'll be doing some social media around that, but it just came in yesterday's mail.
Get all the way back.
And then finally, Wanted to just say thank you to a number of people that participated in an event that we had on April 6th, which was what we call the Ransacker event. In conjunction with Visalia PD and some retired officers, retired Sergeant John Vaughn was kind of the keynote speaker. He was the lead detective in the Ransacker case that helped bring Joseph D'Angelo to justice after decades. And it was standing room only in the Ponderosa. We filled up a Sawtooth 326 or 327 with another 100 people, and I think we had a couple hundred people online. So total, just that watching it live, we had 550 people or so, and it was a heavy lift. I just want to thank Visalia Heritage and specifically Terry and Laura Oman for kind of bringing the whole thing to fruition and so forth. And then here, just have to thank, again, Megan. So much of these things, when I say we can do it, it falls on Megan. So thanks to Megan, thanks to Lauren, Vanessa Lamb, Aaron Albright, Nels, Donnie, Marla. They really helped COS shine that night. And just in today's mail, we ended up with a handful of thank you notes from folks I don't know. So it really resonated with our local community. They were happy that we were able to do that, and it really was a fabulous evening. Recall that this individual took the life of our very own Claude Snelling, who was a professor here, and in the 60s and 70s. Took his life when he walked in on a kidnapping in progress. This individual was trying to kidnap Claude Snelling's daughter, Elizabeth, and Beth actually joined us that night in the Ponderosa. You're talking about an emotional thing. She joined us that night, but in the scuffle to pull his daughter back, this individual shot and killed Claude Snelling. And really sad day in our 95-year history. And you can imagine just the relief that it was for the family bringing him to justice, even though it took, going on 40-something years. It took him that long to bring him to justice. But it was a sobering night, but one that our community needed. And you can tell by those responses that it struck a chord, and COS was glad to play a part in that. So thank you to all those individuals. We really shined that night. And that concludes my report, I think. Pretty sure.
Okay, any questions?
It's a big story.
All right, on to reports. Academic Senate President's Report. Mr. Arzola, you online, sir?
Hi, good evening,
Good evening.
everyone. I am sorry and I apologize for not being in person. I am not feeling well, and I thought it would be best if I stayed home in the event I have something none of y'all want. So I got a couple things that I would like to present to you all. First off, an item that is on the agenda with respect to sabbaticals. I want to give a shout out to Professor Eric Armstrong, who is the faculty chair of the Faculty Enrichment Committee, on successfully soliciting the faculty body to consider applying for sabbaticals. And I believe there was a total of 8 faculty who submitted a sabbatical request. Out of the 8, in fact, following their established protocol for vetting such requests, approved 2 sabbatical requests, which have been forwarded for the board's consideration. We eagerly anticipate the request receiving the board's approval. Also, Academic Senate for California Community Colleges held their spring plenary from April 6th to April 9th. There were a team of 5 faculty that attended. 3 were Senate officers, and we had 2 newcomers. So I want to first shout out Celeste Solis. She's a part-time faculty in the counseling division and also the COSAPA president. She applied for an ASCCC grant to attend spring plenary, and she actually won it. And then, of course, David Hurst, he's the incoming vice president of the Academic Senate from the English division. It was, I believe, his first time attending plenary, and I hope both of those two colleagues of mine came away from plenary with a lot of good information. There were several important resolutions that were passed. Will probably have some impact if the resolutions have any impact at the state level. A couple related to AB 1705, SB 425, and then lastly, a resolution that was passed asking the statewide faculty to consider allowing the ASCCC to amend its mission to add anti-racist and accessibility to their mission statement. And then one final thing with respect to what happened at plenary. I was elected to a 2-year term to serve as the at-large representative for the ASCCC. This is a position that I've held since August on an interim basis, but I was coached into running for my own term, and I was successful in being elected. And then one final thing with respect to the Academic Senate, I want to first begin by giving David Jones, math faculty, some props, and I appreciate his willingness to step up to serve his colleagues as the FEC, or Faculty Enrichment Coordinator Chair, that was expected to begin next academic year, but unfortunately David had to step down due to issues regarding his course scheduling, and thereby his stepping down from assuming that position next academic year has created a vacancy, and so we're as in the Academic Senate exec have begun our game planning on how we're going to fill that vacancy, and hopefully have something to report to you all next meeting. As you know, professional learning is important, not just for the board administrators and staff, but for faculty in particular. And so this position required by law needs to be filled, and hopefully we can find a faculty to do that before we break for the summer recess. And that's all for my report. Thank you all.
Very good. Congratulations on your election. Any questions on the report?
Thank you.
Seeing none. Next up is Ms. Redden at the podium for Costa President's report.
Good evening. It's been a while since I've been here.
Yeah.
It's like
Welcome.
a little bit nervous.
Welcome back.
Well, thank you. Good to be here. I was actually going to do it from my office, but I had to run home, give my daughter a ride home, and then my computer wasn't working, so rushed over here.
Old school.
You made it. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'd also like to thank Eric and the FEC team that worked very hard to approve the sabbatical applications and their due diligence to approve them. It's important work that they do, and I think they bring standards to the process. I also hope that the 2 sabbaticals get approved tonight, because I think they're a real benefit to our school. We have one of them sitting here in our audience, Christina Lynch. So on new business, though, there's a new task force created with the division chairs, classified, and some administrators. It was formed to make scheduling more efficient, to get it right so that there are not as many canceled classes. One of the proposals they're just discussing right now is using dashboard that pulls data from CCC Apply. This data can be used to maximize enrollment and can possibly help support our strategic plan and give us the means to schedule based on student needs, hopefully. But discussions are still going on now about this, and I think they plan on presenting their findings to the next IC meeting, hopefully. We could solve it in a week. So thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Tracy.
Any Questions? Thank you. Fred? No, you're fine. Next up, Mr. Terry, CSEA President's Report. In line. Didn't see him. No?
Make sure he's not on mute.
Sorry, I'm not sure if my computer's working right now, but I have no.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. It's good to see your face. Next up is COSAFA President's Update, Ms. Solis.
She's not with us.
Not with us this evening, okay. I presume nobody else is standing in to give that report. So with that, we move to item 7, consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar considered routine will be enacted by one motion. Item may be removed from the consent calendar at the request of any board of trustee member or any person in the audience and considered as a separate agenda item. We have 5 items this evening: the minutes of a previous meeting, personnel report, payment of bills, working budget approval, and ratification of the 2022-23 sabbaticals. I'd like to pull item 5, which is the ratification of the sabbaticals for special consideration. Any other items to be removed from consent?
No, I move to approve the 4 remaining items.
Mr. President, I would second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar items 1 through 4, moved by Trustee Nunes, or Trustee Cardoza, and seconded by Trustee Nunes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? None. Stands approved. 3 in favor, 1 opposed, 3 in favor and 2 absent. So with regard to the sabbaticals, the reason I pulled that off is there seemed to be a fair amount of conversation back and forth, and I felt like it needed a fuller vetting in the public. There was one of the sabbaticals, I think absolutely in my mind, met all the requirements. I was concerned from a elected representative with a fiduciary responsibility to question and get more information with regard to the sabbatical for Professor Lynch. This is the first time I've had the pleasure of being in your company. I would note that I was much impressed in terms of the application, particularly your involvement in outside of the classroom activities. I do sincerely, and I know the board appreciates that. It takes efforts like that to really make the college life and the college experience memorable. However, notwithstanding that, I did find myself questioning whether or not it was in the best use or the most appropriate use of the funds, and whether or not there was a direct benefit to the college and the students, as opposed to a more weighted benefit to the individual. And I certainly applaud your continued involvement as a writer. You obviously are good at it and have had success, and we wish you continued success. I'm interested in whether or not, with additional information, there may be something that I missed. So with that, I'd like to turn that over. Brent, would you like to say something on that?
Yes, and I'm certainly glad that Professor Lynch is with us today, because I think I can speak for the board and say there's nothing personal here, Chris. We think the world of you as a professor, and the fact that you have such extreme talents is wonderful. I think when I first saw it, and I think in fact they had similar conversations, it wasn't the clean approval that we see a lot of times. It was a bit of a contentious vote, even at the FEC level. not because they don't really admire what you're doing, but when you try to apply it to the ed code specifically, you know, you have the first is work towards a higher degree. Miss Jamie Moore is on one right now for that. We have one for study and/or research. We've certainly had a number of those. Curriculum planning, we have had those as well, and then travel, and my guess is we're latching on kind of to travel here in support of the book tour, which is wonderful. But the Ed Code also says, and I don't have it right here to read verbatim, but I think we've all probably in the last few days read it a lot, where it says that a community college district can offer sabbaticals, and it lists these criteria. Then it also says that benefit the district and students. And I don't think anybody's going to question that there's residual benefit here. Absolutely. And yet my thoughts are we hire good people to do good things, and there's going to be residual benefit in a bunch of what we do. You know, we never plan on getting awards, but when we do get awards, Juan Arzola, Dr. Lacerna, there's a residual benefit to the district there. I think looking back at notes from what the board went through bringing sabbaticals back 5-6 years ago, that was a heavy lift on both the part of the Academic Senate and Dr. Trimble and the administration and President Carasosa at that time, bringing it back. I think the understanding was that's the key phrase, that benefit the district and students, and I would add direct benefit and not residual benefit. And so I think that's probably the board members can speak for themselves, but I think that's what maybe snags us up. I know it snagged us up prior to us bringing sabbaticals back. There was a long hiatus, and it was really all about this issue. Where's the direct benefit? And I know that there are universities that do sabbaticals for rest, rejuvenation, recharge, and that's not necessarily, it's not at all the case here. It's not what's in Ed Code. What's in Ed Code is pretty cut and dry. And so again, I'll let the board members speak for themselves, but I think that's probably what caught President Lane's eye and felt like we should talk about this, because I don't necessarily see the direct connection to the college's work. Certainly, Professor Lynch is an accomplished writer. This is fabulous. I look at it like if one of our coaches had the opportunity to go and train with an Olympic team of some sort for a semester, that would be fabulous. If one of our theater professors had the opportunity to go work on Broadway for a semester, those are fabulous endeavors. I'm not sure that a sabbatical would be right for those either. We might have to look at bank time or some kind of a leave of absence or the other ways that we have. I'm not sure that a sabbatical would have been right there when I read this language. And so we've got Jesse Wilcoxon and Eric Armstrong on Zoom right now. They are the co-chairs of the Faculty Enrichment Committee. They may want to shed a bit of light on this as well. And then my guess is our board members may have a thing or two or some questions to ask as well. Jesse, Eric, anything to add?
Mr. Armstrong, would you like to start?
Sure. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I wanted to make sure everything was working. I prepared just a few comments in case there were questions for tonight. So if you'll bear with me, I'll read through a couple of them, and I think we'll effectively respond to what President Calvin just raised and perhaps potential concerns that the board may have echoed in a different moment. But first of all, I want to say that Christina Lynch's sabbatical here constitutes the quality of study one that is outlined in Ed Code. In order for the discipline, for the faculty of the discipline, they need time to study their discipline. So first I wanted to say that sabbaticals provide an opportunity to engage in their expertise. They are extensive time away from teaching, the direct teaching load. They do not require additional teaching load in order to take bank time, in order to take time off to do that. They are opportunities for faculty members to engage in the things that they were hired for. So just for example, geologists need to travel and study various geologies. We want them to learn those things. Teachers of foreign languages need to travel and listen and learn the languages they teach, along with the cultures that birth those languages. Drama instructors need to have the experiences of directing plays and engaging in set building and things that are important to their discipline. And writers are very much the same way. For writing instructors, the bread and butter of their expertise is doing the work of writing. And that takes considerable amount of time to do. And that's very difficult when you are also in a full teaching load or teaching an overload and doing extensive additional campus duties, as Christina Lynch very much does every semester of her work at COS. And I want to say that this will not provide residual benefits in that regard. It in fact will provide very clear direct benefits. First of all, this engagement improves instruction. Faculty members who pursue deep learning in their fields are prepared to teach their students and fellow faculty members more effectively. I cannot think of a better example for writing instructors than for those who have been published and engaged in the field in such a capacity that they could teach students to do the same thing. And those lessons are often engaged through the culture and the expertise of writers, not something that's taught effectively just in the writing classroom in terms of like freshman composition. You have to be a writer in the field, and they convey lessons to their students about how to do that effectively. This engagement prevents faculty burnout and disengagement and turnover. This is absolutely a direct benefit to the college to make sure that faculty members are engaged in their discipline and engaged in their campus community when they return from sabbaticals. The literature is extensive on deep professional development opportunities that prevent burnout and engage faculty members meaningfully. Consequently, faculty members are prepared to support the college and our students when they return. As I said before, and other members already identified, Christina extensively provides her time to mentor students, to teach classes, to guide chat conversations, the grade books conversations. Her work is extensive across campus. By doing this work, she'll be able to come back and do that work more passionately and more effectively. Expertise, this improves the overall health of our institutions through reciprocal support. By us supporting faculty interested in deep professional learning in their professional expertise, we engage them in a meaningful reciprocal relationship so that when they return, they are meaningful and engaged members in the classroom and across campus. I think we can all think of faculty members in our mind who are disengaged, disconnected, burnt out, and not engaged in supporting the college in their mission and institution. And one of the ways that we can engage them is engage them in things they're passionate about. And this discipline area are part of that. In particular, because of the various needs of each of the disciplines, these cannot be constituted very well through our district plan, district goals, and objectives. They are so niche and idiosyncratic for the disciplines that sabbaticals, when you're engaging in the things that are important to you as a professional expert, like writing, like spending time writing a book and reading your books to other audience members and engaging in that work, you can't really connect that to all of the district goals. The district doesn't consider all of the individual faculty members' professional development needs when it designs the district master plan or the strategic plan. As a chair of the 2018 strategic plan, we have to think at the broader level, and as such, it's the IAPs that serve those district goals very, very clearly. And those who reach those aspects, this provides deep professional learning for our faculty to improve the quality of our instruction, the care of our community, and the power of our individual faculty members to teach what they've been hired to teach. Lastly, I'll say expertise is brought and prestige is brought to the college and draws students and improves our respective programs in that way. And I think Christina's work absolutely echoes that with our students who are engaged in learning from her about reading, about writing, and about publishing their own work in the future. I'll just lastly ask the board to consider something that has been expressed in the professional development literature for a while. And that is the difference between transactional and transformational opportunities. Transactional, we often think about things, give me this so I can give you that. But in professional development, there has been a shift thinking about these opportunities as transformational. And they are opportunities for faculty members to transform themselves and their role in the institution through deep and engaged professional learning in the discipline. And this is an opportunity for Christina Lynch to do that, and I fully support her work in doing that. And I'll just close by saying something that was raised. Very few proposals in the FAC committee ever received 100% unanimous agreement. Even Jamie's that was mentioned here by President Calvin was not a unanimous approval. The other sabbatical that was acknowledged as being worthwhile was also not approved unanimously. There are differing perspectives about what is valuable and what isn't, and it's very rare for them to have unanimous consent to the sabbatical. Rather, much like many of our committees, they are run by shared governance majority vote. And any proposal I send forward is voted by the FAC as a majority to move forward, whether that majority is smaller or larger. And if the committee rejects a proposal that I might perhaps support, it is still my role to say that the FAC committee rejected that, even if that rejection is not unanimous. And in this case, they supported Christina's support of sabbatical application in majority, and we forwarded in good confidence and good faith with the procedures to have it approved here today by you, the board. And I ask that you do that today and support Christina's work as a professional, as a great committee member, or a great community member for our college, and a great instructor and a great mentor to our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. Appreciate your comments. Mr. Wilcoxon?
Well, that I have a lot to add. I think most of everything that was running through my mind was covered either by Eric or President Calvin. So you just reiterate that, you know, it wasn't unanimous. You know, this one had a lot of conversation, and it won by a majority vote. Although being slim, it still won, and Eric's doing his duty, if you will, by forwarding it on. I think all the concerns that, I mean, if I was to bring anything up, I don't have anything new to add beyond what President Calvin already mentioned.
Okay.
I think that's all I have to say about it.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience have any comments? Or online? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, we'll turn back to the trustees. Happy to start or hear any comments that the trustees may have.
Sure. First, Professor Lynch, I'm envy of the ability that you have. Boy, I wish I could come close to that. In any event, I'd like to thank everyone for their comments. I appreciate them all. I don't want to get into all the details of this. I think we've covered those, whether there's a direct benefit, indirect benefit. I just, in my heart, feel that this sabbatical does not meet the criteria that the board has established in our policy. And as Dr. Calvin pointed out, I also don't believe that it meets the criteria established in the Ed Code. So, and being the steward that we are of taxpayer dollars, I just don't feel like that I can support Professor Lynch's request for a sabbatical. I know previous boards have struggled with sabbaticals, and as also was mentioned, sabbaticals were non-existent for a long period of time because, quite frankly, of the controversy that surrounds them in a lot of cases. I think we've had a good run here for several years, but that's my thought on it.
Yes, I echo what Ken is saying. I, though, also would like to thank you, Christina, for being here. It's nice to be able to have you in person so that you can hear our tone and hopefully sense our appreciation for you as a faculty. I think that we never want to make it personal. I, as a board member, we took on the proposals at one point. I don't remember how long that was, and I don't ever want to do that again. It was probably out of our purview anyways. And we turned it over to the FEC committee, so it's hard for me to go against something that the FEC recommends, because I know that was our purpose, to hand it over, but we also have to remember who we are and what we stand for up here, and that's representing the college and making sure that we set a precedent also for future. So as much as I admire your work and don't want to make it personal, I too as a board member I struggle with finding that one box or last box I can check to know that it's something that supports the college. And I think, as a board, we set a precedent for other future sabbaticals that are going to come back, and, we've added another level of criteria that maybe are all kind of on that line. And I think the more we move that way, I've been in this position before with this board, and it was a hard line. We knew we had to draw it, it was tough. You want to kind of compromise it, but I think as we keep moving over, this is just going to become a harder subject. So I'm going to have to say that I agree with my fellow board members on this one.
I think it's been stated clearly. Don't have an awful lot to add. I would say that I'm not compelled to change my earlier statement. I think it's it's a wonderful talent and skill, and wish you absolutely all the best. Hopefully we can accommodate your ability to actually achieve this task. I just don't feel like I can responsibly vote to have the taxpayer dollars support this particular aspect of it. So with that, I would call for the question. First I'll turn it to the trustees, your pleasure, whether or not we want to do one or both.
Mr. President, I'm prepared to make a motion to approve the sabbatical of Milena Syed.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to approve the sabbatical submitted by Milena Syed. Any questions? Not. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So it passes unanimously with the trustees that are present. With that, anything further on that item? If not, move to the item 8, action item, curriculum, new, modified, and deleted. Dr. Lacerna.
Hi, everybody. In your packet, you have the curriculum that has been approved by the Academic Senate and the Curriculum Committee and is being forwarded to the board. We have one new course on the first page, which is cheer and stunt for our competition-based cheer team. And then we have courses that are here for 5-year review in agriculture, astronomy, English, graphic design. Page 2, also, these are here for adding distance learning addendums and just regular 5-year updates in music, Spanish. On page 3, we have a number of work experience courses that are here for 5-year review, just general updates. Same on page 4 and page 5. We have some course deletions for courses that have not been taught in over 2 years. And that is a policy of the Curriculum Committee. If we do not teach a course over 2 years, then the course will be inactivated. So we have our first set of courses being inactivated because they have not been taught in over 2 years. That goes on to page 6 and page 7 and page 8, yes, and page 9 and page the top of page 10. And that's a new policy from the Curriculum Committee, so that's why you see a number of courses. Those have all been vetted with their divisions and their departments. They can be activated again if the department chooses to bring those courses back and offer them. We have one new program, the Associate of Science in Electrical Technology. And we have at the bottom of page 10 and to page 11, program modifications. These are here for 5 and 2-year reviews, descriptions, just minor updates to descriptions, outcomes. And finally, a program deletion in the Associate of Science in Physical Science, as there have been no degree recipients in the last 6 years. Is not, students are getting degrees in other areas. With that, I recommend the board approve the curriculum report.
Thank you.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Awful lot of deletions compared to typical or normal, right?
Yeah.
And are any of those sort of COVID casualties that they couldn't reasonably be offered or accommodated because of the conditions, or is it?
No, we had a few courses on the list that had some issues like that enrollment, and those departments came forward and said, no, we're going to offer this semester or give us one more year. And the curriculum committee took any courses like that and we took them off the deletion list.
Okay.
So there was a number of courses that had that issue. So these are definitely ones that were had an issue pre-pandemic.
Okay. And then if there should be a need that materializes, how long can they be brought back quickly? Or?
Yeah, they already have everything developed, so it'll probably be a couple of meetings to get it, a couple of months to get it reinstated and offered the next semester.
Okay. All right.
Would you say any of these were replaced by something else similar, or no? Are these all, for the most part, do you think?
Oh my gosh, there's a long list.
No, don't worry then. I wasn't
No.
sure if it was these are just kind of been replaced slowly over the last few years with something more up to date.
In some cases, it could be. In some, I'm just looking at the different ones. A few of them are independent study or supervised practice, so we haven't had any students taking independent study. We do in comp, there's some new classes, couple that they just haven't been able to offer for numerous reasons. The ESL courses, we are not offering the beginning on campus anymore. We're only offering the non-credit off campus. So they have similar courses that are non-credit level. Again, there's a number of independent study courses. And then a few, when you look at history of country music, we've never been able to get enough students to take that course. We haven't been doing the pep band the last several years. Hopefully we'll bring it back at some point. And let's see if there's any others. So no, I don't think that's an issue for any of them.
Okay, thank you.
It's been moved and seconded to recommend the board approve the attached list of courses and programs as part of the district's curriculum. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Passes unanimous with the trustees present. Next is item 7, Mr. Perez, approval of transfer of 2021-22 one-time funds.
Yes, good evening, Board. President Calvin presented this to the Board as an information item last board meeting in my absence, so thank you there. Just as a refresher.
Not well.
Yeah.
I didn't do it very well.
Oh, well, you did fine.
No thanks needed.
So as a refresher, this is the action item. It takes two board meetings, one informational and one action, which is tonight. But just a reminder, this has gone through Senior Management, Budget Committee, and DGS, so they have all approved. What you saw tonight on a consent calendar or consent item was our surplus is about a little over 7 million, 7.1 million. So what we're requested tonight is to move 6.319 million. 5 million of that will go over to the Tulare Career Technical Educational Building, AKA Phase 2. And the other 1.319 million will go to our fund balance reserve, which will bring it to an even 25 million. So with that, I'm asking for approval to approve resolution 2022-03, 5 million to capital projects and the 1.319 million over to our fund balance reserve.
So moved.
Okay, I would happily second that motion anytime we're transferring money to the Tulare
Oh, stop it.
complex.
All right. And, moved and seconded to approve resolution
And Greg and Raymond are here.
2022-03. Megan, roll call, please.
Trustee Cardoza?
Aye.
Trustee Dunas?
Aye.
Trustee Ling?
Aye. And so ordered.
Great, thank
Thanks,
you.
sir. Nice to have you back.
Yeah.
Next is a piggyback contract. Mr. Woods.
Yes,
Grandstanding.
You've been busy.
Grandstanding here.
Back again. I'll be back, I think, every month for the next year, bringing contracts like this. So in front of you, you have a approval of a piggyback contract with Southern Bleacher Company of Texas for all of the built-in, the fixed bleacher grandstands and press box for the stadium improvements project. Megan, would you like to go to the aerial, or could you change to the aerial photo, please?
Yeah.
Maybe like,
You're
should
gonna
be.
tell me where.
Oh, right there.
Right there?
There we go. So I give you a different view tonight, just to kind of give you a better vision of what the grandstands will look like, or it'll look similar to that. Just to remind you, the scope of work for the stadium, there's really just a handful of, I think maybe 5 major components to it. The restroom concession facility, which is what the board awarded at last month's board meeting. Number 2 is the bleacher seating, which what we're bringing to you tonight. Number 3 is a video scoreboard. I'm hoping to bring that to the board next month for review and recommendation to award. And site improvements, which would be all of the site work for a general contractor to bid. And lastly, we'll be resurfacing the track, and that'll also be on a piggyback contract. So getting back to what your question?
Didn't you forget one item, Mr. Woods? The luxury suite for the
Oh,
board?
yeah, the luxury suite. Yeah,
I see it.
Hey, you can sit in mine, okay?
I think that tipped the budget right there. I think we had to pull that out. So back to the grandstands. We've been working closely with Teeter Architects, the architect for this project, for the last few months, and Southern Bleacher. Yeah, you can go back up to the, yeah, there you go, thank you. On the design of the bleacher system for this project. The picture that you're looking at right there, that's actually a picture from Selma High School, right up the road. Southern Bleacher just did their bleachers about, I think 2 years ago is when they finished that. But that is the design that we're shooting for, and they have the orange that we're also looking for too. So to recap, we're looking at about 3,000 seats in the stadium, 2,400 of which would be fixed seating. So about half on the home side, half on the away side roughly, and an elevated press box as you saw in that rendering. This particular board agenda item is referencing a buy-board piggyback. So this buy-board's new to us, but they're out of Texas. It is a co-op purchasing organization that Southern Bleacher is a part of. Referencing proposal number 665-22, and all the piggyback documents are attached for your review and consideration. And the piggyback is good through March 2025. Also included in the board agenda item is the actual quote for the purchase of the bleachers based on our design, and that is a total of $2,183,420. The project is funded by district capital project funds, and we are aiming for starting construction this fall, hopefully by October-ish, with completion hopefully by May of next year. So with that, we're recommending the board approve the piggyback contract for Southern Bleacher in the amount of $2,183,420. Any questions? Yes?
You have any idea, I'm sure you do,
Yeah.
that the amount here is consistent with what you might have been expecting, or in the range? Or I know we had an overall budget for it.
I'm glad you brought that up. So price of steel, well actually price of aluminum has increased this cost by about between 25 and 30% over the last 2 months.
Wow.
Because of the situation overseas. And so, yeah, I was notified by the contractor, by Southern Bleacher. He said it's going to be just north of $2 million. I was hoping it would be right around the 1.7 range,
Right.
which is what was originally in our budget. But at this point, it's out of our hands. It doesn't matter who you go with. They're still aluminum bleachers, and the price is what it is. So,
Well, cut that suite out.
yeah, that's exactly it.
We'll sit in the press box, I guess.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Entertain a motion to approve?
Mr. President, I would move for approval of the piggyback contract as as identified in item 8.
And I will second that.
Moved by trustee Nunes, seconded by trustee Cardoza to approve the item as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'm sorry.
You almost fell over onto the no side there.
It's only the three of us, Ken, you gotta pay attention.
That's right. Try to keep up.
That's
All
my
right.
problem.
Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Appreciate the diligence, and it's a great project. The last item, item 9, is the board policies, the second read. Dr. Calvin?
Thank you, President Lane. Yes, 2 second reads on board policies. Number 3420, which is equal employment opportunity, and 3600 auxiliary organizations. You saw them both last month on the 14th. And just recall that on either of them, we just changed the title of our organization from College of the to Sequoia CCD. That was the only changes that we made. They're still aligned well with the league's recommendation on BP. So with that, I'd ask for your approval.
Okay, move to approve item number 9, board policies for the second read.
I'll second that.
Move to accept BP 3420 and BP 3600. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? No. So it passes unanimously. With that, we appreciate everyone's involvement and your participation, and we stand adjourned.